All right, this is Theo Goodman from Degenbet.com, and I'm here today with Philip and BTC Vic. So we're going to go over some of the picks for the fights in UFC 211. Finally, a really stacked UFC card. Thanks for coming on, guys. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. All right, let's just hit it off with the main event, which is Dos Santos against Miocic. These guys have faced each other before. Now, it was a while ago, but they have faced each other before, and Dos Santos did get the win. Now, that was before Miocic was the champion. Since then, Dos Santos has gone 1-1, and I believe Miocic has won 4 fights. I don't know. So, Philip, what do you think about this fight? Do you have a
Mm,
pick for this fight?
I mean, this fight is, it's really even. It's for once, it's a heavyweight fight, and anybody can get knocked out. That's what I like about heavyweight. Anybody on any given day can get knocked out, no matter who you are. But I do actually like Stipe in this fight, mainly because I think he's developed more since the Dos Santos fight than Dos Santos has. Um, and I mean, he's just, he's been on a tear. I like his style, his boxing, his combinations. They all look great when he throws them, and when he gets on the ground. I mean, I think he got dropped against Alistair Overeem, and he looked okay on the ground, even from being rocked. And Dos Santos, I mean, he plays into others' game too easily. I think he was really tentative against Overeem. It didn't. I mean, in the first round, they threw maybe what, like 5 punches, if that, and he got knocked out in the second round, and that's mainly because he got lured into Alistair Overeem's game. He didn't throw anything because Alistair didn't throw anything, and then once Alistair started to throw things, he got knocked out, and yeah, and also mainly the main reason, at least in my opinion, why he won against Ben Rothwell was because Ben Rothwell he's a slow guy. He's not. He can't handle the speed of Dos Santos, and that's why I think he won. If he would have faced a Ben Rothwell who could deal with his speed and maybe thrown combinations at the same speed, or a little bit slower but still quick, I think he would have lost that fight. But yeah, I think Stipe Miocic is just a better version of Dos Santos, to be honest.
Vix, what about your opinions on this fight?
I have to say, I keep going back and forth on this fight. Um, but there's a couple things that we can kind of take away from, not just the last fight that they had, but mainly kind of the way Dos Santos has been fighting. He has had a couple injuries, and it seems like he's kind of taken more of a point fighting approach. I mean, maybe that was just because he had such uh, a superior advantage of speed against Rothwell. And I think that's been almost, it's got to be about a year since he's last fought.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that does raise some questions. Um, but it kind of leads me more on the total side. I actually could see this fight going the full distance. And both fighters know the danger of the power that the other one has. And we could get kind of a similar fight of back and forth, more of just stand up boxing.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on the total there on the over 1.5, and that only pays 1.5. But I do like this to go. Oh no, I think it's over 3.5. Excuse me, on this fight, but I still think it's going to go the distance too. And actually, I'm going to go for Dos Santos on this one, even though I do agree that Miocic has really improved. But let's just think back. Okay, so Miocic. He beat Verdum in Brazil in that big stadium, and Verdum kind of ran in, and Miocic
Yeah.
check hooked him, and he got knocked out, which was perfectly timed and all that. Um, and over when Miocic fought Overeem, I thought, what the hell is Overeem doing? I mean, I'm not. I understand you have to get away from people, and you do have to turn your back sometimes. But not only the so-called runaway stuff he was doing, which is sometimes okay, he just looked weird that evening. Over,
Yeah.
I thought Overeem did. There's something I
He kept
really
getting
question.
put up against the fence, and let
It was
Miocic.
strange,
Yeah.
and he almost had him. he did almost have him submitted. It was a really weird performance from Overeem. I don't know if you remember, that was one of the funniest post-fight talks with Joe Rogan,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah.
Overeem did a classic Overeem where he goes, I can't do a good Overeem voice, but that kind of is a certain kind of English Dutch kind of accent. And he's like, yeah, I think I had him say, I think he tapped. And Rogan is like, okay, let's roll it back. And they played it in slow motion right in front of him, and you see that he didn't tap. And he goes,
It was
oh,
really
okay.
awkward.
That was really awkward. Anyway, that was really strange. So I was just thinking of that, and I was thinking of of course, yeah, the first fight was a while ago, but I still think that Dos Santos matches up really well. And the thing is, like Vic said about the point fighting, Miocic. So what happened in both of those is that Verdum and Overeem played into Miocic's game. Where Verdum just ran into him, and Overeem didn't game of being aggressive. He let Miocic be in the middle, and Dos Santos is really good at judging distance and doing that kind of thing and setting stuff up. He's got really good takedown defense. I think that, though, I do think in the first 2 rounds, Miocic is going to be really dangerous, and he could just wrestle him out. But if Dos Santos is able to get through 1 and 2 and not get taken down the whole time, or not be dominated, then I think he's got a good chance of just picking him apart, little by little, and that's what he does. So I'm going to go with the slight underdog, Dos Santos, but I'm also going to go with the over. Believe it's over 3.5. What do you think about the over, Philip?
It's actually over 1.5. Just that's what it's stated at. But I mean, if you look at if you want goes the distance, it's 3.57. So I'm in the European odds. Yeah,
that's nice. Oh yeah, I was getting mixed up between the women's fight, the headline. It's only 1.5 over 1.5. I think that's even though both.
I think that's gonna hit, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably do this. I'd probably bet on Stipe Miocic first round knockout, and if that doesn't happen, then it's possible that it goes the distance. I'm probably gonna live bet as well if it goes the distance, because for me personally, I judge a fight in the first 20-30 seconds to see how energetic they are, how they look basically in the ring, and I go from there. But I'd probably take. I mean, it's probably gonna go over 1.5, just because, as Vic said, Dos Santos has adopted that point fighting style. But the only thing that I doubt is his chin, because he's been in so many wars. I mean, Stipe, he hasn't really been in that many wars. He's been knocked out once against Struve, I think, and
yeah, that was a while ago. Well, of course, everyone remembers the long battle he had with Cain Velasquez and how bloody his face looked and all that. He's
3 against Cain.
Yeah, they were all pretty epic, or except for the one where he knocked him out right away. But they were like really long battles. But yeah, and he is also a guy where I don't know. Where is this going to be? This event 211. I mean, Dos Santos is a guy. Kind of like how Diaz brothers a little. He does bleed kind of easily.
Yeah, he's got a lot of scar tissue.
It does look bad sometimes. It's in Dallas. Okay, well, I don't know how the judges are. I don't know if we're that far to handicap. That city has horrible judges yet, but he does bleed a lot. I don't know if some judges are just going to be stupid and say, or that could get in his eyes too. But I still think that he's got a good chance. Even though these guys have knockout power, I'm also with the over and possibly with the go the distance. I like that play.
What about Dos Santos by 5-round decisions plus 520?
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it's not a bad prop. Not a bad prop.
I already bet that. And then you can actually bet unanimous decision for plus 750 as well.
Ooh.
Why not? And you could also stack that with Miocic cards no bet. It's only 1.66, but you could do that just to get something if it does end in the distance. But that's what I think for this one. And people listening, Philip is doing good at this live betting MMA. I'm going to have to get I'm gonna have to get a Bet 365 account or figure out because most of the places I know you can just do between the rounds, and I'm not quick enough. And he's able to. He's been doing pretty good on live betting. So come in telegram.me/sportsbet, and we'll be we watch most of these live, and sometimes Philip has got a good live bet. What you got the bot? What was it? We were watching Joshua against what's his name boxing. What did you get?
Yeah,
Go.
I
You got
got
4.0. Good.
right after Joshua got, or like not right after, but like a round after Joshua got knocked down. His odds went up to like 4.0, which is
Yeah.
4 times your money. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna snatch that up real quick. And he ended up winning. I also got him by TKO as well, but that was before the match started. But I was like 2.3 maybe. So I mean, it was some good odds, yeah. But also in
All right. Let's.
yep, yeah.
Well,
No,
let's go
I
to
can
the
keep going. Yeah.
next fight. Yeah, we had 2 weeks of boxing. Now it's time for MMA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We got Jessica Andrade against Johanna. Yeah, I know everyone knows Johanna, the champion. Mean. She's got that kind of snappy jab. She has proven her takedown defense, especially against Claudia when they fought. She's willing to point out a decision, no problem with that. Has got these really, spectacular takedowns, just tossing people around, kind of a bully. Out of the women's division, probably one of the fighters with the most power in her hands, I would say. Now, I wouldn't say that she has that kind of snappy striking style like Johanna, but she's definitely got some threatening power. How do you see this fight, Vix?
I was pretty high up on Andrade for quite some time. I thought she had quite a bit of power, could give the champ some issues. But I think I've kind of, I don't know, like lost some of that confidence after seeing her performance with Angela Hill. And Angela actually put out a decent amount of volume to the point where it got sloppy, and Andrade did pull off a victory there. Just I guess it wasn't as dominating as I was expecting. So I've definitely changed, and I think this is going to have a similar result of what we saw of her against Claudia, where Andrade may try and take her down the first couple rounds. She's going to run out of gas, and then she's going to turn into a punching bag.
Okay, what do you think, Philip?
Yeah, I've been going back and forth as well. I'm gonna have to side with Andrade though, because Andrade beat who was it, Joanne Calderwood, and I think Joanne Calderwood's striking and overall style reminds me a lot of Ioana and Jacek's. She she's uses the teep a lot. She's a Muay Thai striker, and she's got some pretty good takedown defense. I think Joanna has better takedown defense. But I think that once Andrade gets it on the ground, then I think that Joanna is done. And also something that kind of annoys me about Joanna is that, I mean, she's being praised as being this great Muay Thai striker, but she's getting, hit quite a lot for being such a good Muay Thai striker. I mean, she got hurt or tagged at least by Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who isn't. I mean, she's a Muay Thai striker as well, but she isn't really a knockout artist as Joanne Calderwood or as Ioana Jacek is. So I'm actually gonna have to take Andrade on this one because I think she either catches Joanna somehow or she gets down on the ground and uh, finishes her. I don't, and also it could go to a decision, but Andrade, she has a better gas tank than Claudia, I think at least. She's adopted that style where you don't pour everything out in the first 2 rounds like Claudia does, that like she did in their last fight. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take Andrade on this one.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Andrade, even though Johanna has, been really good in her defenses, shown takedown defense. I agree with you. Claudia, really just gassed out after 2 rounds of trying nonstop takedowns in that fight. And the thing is that Andrade is not only threatening from takedowns, like where Claudia, her striking is okay, but it's clearly not going to be able to win against Johanna standing. Andrade has enough power to be threatened enough of a threat to where, just like you said, if like one of those, I think it was kind of like an overhand right over or yeah, I think it was like an overhand right over Johanna's jab or something like that that Carolina
Yeah.
caught her with something. It
Counter
was in the
back, I
later
think.
rounds. I think it was in 4 or 5.
Hmm.
But Carolina maybe even won 4 and 5. She really did come on then and got some. So it showed that you know Johanna is not invincible as far as striking, and when someone that
Yeah.
can strike is with her, then that can be a threat. I don't know if Andrade's gas tank has been tested in 4 and 5, but the thing is also Andrade with the whole wrestling angle, she could take down Johanna, dominate a round, dominate half a round like that, get some rounds in. I think this thing could go the distance. This could be a really good battle. So I'm going to go Andrade, and I'm also going to go over 3.5, even though Andrade has good power and Johanna can also take people out, no question, if she wants. But I think this is going to be a back and forth battle. Both these are tough as hell, too. They're not going to just go down, I think. They're not faint hearted like some people when they get hit in the face. We've seen it just kind of fade out. I don't think that's going to be the case with either one of these. And this could be good battle over 3.5. And Andrade are my main picks for this one. All right, let's move on to the next fight. Here, Frankie Edgar, Yair Rodriguez. Interesting matchup. Um, you know, is Edgar? He's had a lot of fights.
Wait,
I think.
I think you missed one.
Oh,
Demian Maia,
you want
Jorge
to go to Maya
Masvidal.
Masvidal first?
Yeah, I was thinking that one. I was watching your screen,
That's cool.
and I
Maya
just
Masvidal. We'll hit that. Yeah, I did skip over that. All right, let's go over it. Damian Maya. Masvidal, Maya is kind of like the human backpack. Once he gets on you, I mean, that's kind of. I forgot what fight that was, but he's once he attaches to you, it's not a lot of people can get him off.
yeah, he's got
That's
that
the thing.
triangle grip with his feet. I forget what it's called,
Yeah,
but
and even standing, he can even
yeah.
like not even on the back totally, just kind of sideways. Even he'll
Hmm.
just kind of attach to you kind of like a human backpack, and then it's really hard to get him off. He's improved to stand up. I remember a while ago he would try to stand with guys more. I think he's kind of figured out his strong point and really sticking to that. Masvidal is looking really good lately, though. I'm torn on this one. I don't have any pick on this one right now. I'm also leaning over 1.5. Also, it's like the other fights pays about the same for the over. I could see this go in the distance. Thing is, Masvidal, okay, he kind of, went there in interviews saying, hey, I got to change my style. I lost too many decisions. He has really bad luck with decisions.
Hmm.
And Maya with that ground game. So I was like leaning Masvidal, but then I was thinking, I don't know. This could easily go to decision. And then if Maya is just on him the whole time, that's not going to look good. So what do you think, Phil?
I'm gonna take Damian Maia on this one. I think Jorge
Mhm.
Masvidal has been hyped way too much, sort of like Waterson against Rose Namajunas. I don't know if any of you
Mhm.
remember it, but I was super confident on Rose Namajunas like the day of the fight because I was watching online like everybody was saying, oh yeah, Waterson is gonna wreck her and whatnot just because she got one win against Paige Van Zandt. Everybody think that she's a world beater, and I think that's the same with Jorge Masvidal. A lot of people are seeing his performance against Donald Cerrone, and I was, to be honest, when I watched that fight, I was thinking that if Donald Cerrone took some time off and took that Masvidal fight like in a year or half a year at least, he'll be a completely different fighter because he got dropped against who did he fight before that? Matt Brown, I think he fought before that. He got dropped in that fight, and he took a lot of damage in the fight before. So I think a lot of people are hyping Jorge Masvidal up to beat Tyron Woodley or something, which I don't agree with at all. And also, Demian Maia, he's a world-class grappler, and his striking has improved a lot since he got knocked out against, who was it? Nate Marquardt, I think, who's, he's a scary striker. So I'm going to have to take Demian Maia on this one. I might actually take the under because I think Jorge Masvidal is going to come in with that, overconfident kind of style, and he will get taken down, submitted, because I don't think he realizes what kind of animal Demian Maia is. Once he gets you on the ground, you're done. You can't do anything about it. I mean, Gunnar Nelson, who is one of the best grapplers in UFC, couldn't do anything. I mean, he defended the submissions for 3 rounds, but I mean, it was barely. And he's a guy that submits everyone. So yeah, I'm taking Demian Maia on this one.
I was just checking out the props. You still get Maia by decision for 4.15. That's not bad.
Yeah.
What do you think about this fight, Vix?
I think Masvidal by decision.
Masvidal via decision. Okay, that's interesting.
Well, I think Masvidal is going to take a more cautious approach and then try and basically outpoint Maia and just keep at distance. I guess we'll see if that works, but
sure.
I don't know. It's kind of a little bit like the what was it? The Jacare Whitaker fight. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's just gonna take him down and submit him." Well, yeah, you got to get him there first. So I just kind of wonder if that's going to be actually the over is probably the best bet. I know Philip likes the under, but I don't know. I'm quite torn.
I'm feeling the over. I'm feeling the over 1.5. Masvidal does have solid takedown defense, really good base. I can't remember. I'd have to look back at his past fights to even find one where he got dominated on the ground or even taken down a bunch. But he's definitely got. I don't think that's an issue with him, but it is Demian Maia. It's not just your average guy. And like I said, he just stick to you standing up. He didn't have to take you down always, but it'll be an interesting fight. All right, let's go on to what I had earlier. It's Edgar. With this one, I'm kind of torn. The over 2.5 is only 1.4. So everybody thinks, or the books at least think, this is going to go the distance pretty much. I like him as a fighter from a fan perspective, but he's been in a lot of battles. I think that he's 1 or 2 in amount of time in the ring, amount of strikes landed ever in the UFC. He's got ridiculous stats. But he's getting up there in the amount of fights that he's had, amount of battles that he has. Edgar does have really good wrestling too. And I'm wondering if that might come into play to kind of neutralize some of the kicks of Rodriguez, but I'm still torn on this one. You have an opinion on this one, Vix?
I haven't really done a lot of research into this one yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards Yair. I don't know. I just think maybe he can see something in that McGregor tape as far as his striking goes. I think that's where it's going to happen. But I don't know if I'll bet this fight, to be honest.
Philip?
I've actually got 2 bets for this fight, and it's Yair Rodriguez by TKO or Edgar by decision. Mainly because I don't see Frankie Edgar finishing this Yair Rodriguez, because Yair Rodriguez, he's got a good chin and he's got a pretty good defensive grappling style. And I don't see Yair Rodriguez outpointing Frankie Edgar either, because he can't. I don't see him dealing with that wrestling or Frankie Edgar's speed. Frankie Edgar is small dude who likes to go in and out and punches really quick. Except when he fought Aldo, which hold up, someone's calling me. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
he does.
Edgar does use a lot of volume. That's what I said. I think he has either number one or number two, just straight up amount of strikes landed in UFC history ever. So
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
He's a volume striker. And so, yeah, that's because also Frank Edgar, he gets dropped quite a lot. I mean, he fought Jeremy Stevens, he gets switch kicked to the head, and he dropped. You know,
well, that was his thing. He would get dropped round one and then win the fight. That was his thing for a while.
And I mean, it was his thing until he realized that, you know, he can't keep doing this or else he's
That's
gonna
true.
get fucking knocked out. So that's why I think Yair Rodriguez by, you know, TKO, because Yair Rodriguez, I mean, look what he did to BJ Penn. And granted, BJ Penn is not the kind of fighter that Frank Edgar is, but still, I mean, he put him away in the second round, and he was just playing with him. So I think that either Yair Rodriguez is gonna hit some crazy taekwondo capoeira kick, or Frank Edgar is gonna wrestle fuck him to a decision. That's what I think is gonna happen.
All right.
And what if Edgar has been kind of broken after that last fight?
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's my question. Is Frankie Edgar? You know, we've had I don't know if I should mention it, but we had one person that retired early, or they said they're going to go to play football or something. And then we had, we've had people lately, but we've had other people, that didn't say before the fight, this is my last fight, and then they'll announce it. Now, I don't know if Frankie Edgar's there yet, but, he, like I said, he's getting up there. And I just wonder in the back of my mind, is he thinking about that right now? Is that in his mind about that? Or is he thinking he really is going to try to go, get the title right now? Really, I'm not sold on that. So I would lean Rodriguez, if anything.
I think that's a good point, too, because, I mean, he climbed the ladder. He knocked out RDA, got the title.
Yeah.
Then, he gets knocked out by Connor. But, I mean, when is that belt going to come back into play? That could be like, he might have to wait a couple of years to get back in there. So if this ends badly for him, I could totally see him being like, yeah, guys, my last fight, I made my run. I got the title. He's probably not going to want to go down that path of trying to get it again.
He's a legendary fighter already, so he doesn't have anything to prove. Everybody knows Frankie Edgar. So, I could definitely see that. That's why I'm kind of hesitant about that angle on it. And we got Rodriguez is more on the up and coming side, and motivated. Okay, he does have a little bit of hype because he's got that kind of style, and Joe Rogan likes to say Taekwondo a lot. So
this is like a Miocic Tate setup.
It feels like it. I mean, he has had a lot of fights, so you wonder about that. So that makes me.
Like how Miocic came out and she lost her fight, and she's like, all right, I'm passing it off to the new people.
Yep.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, that could very well happen.
I don't know if Frankie Edgar would do that. I mean, he's like, kind of like Philadelphia, tough guy, kind of street smart kind of guy. I don't know if that's really his style to just do it like Miocic Tate did, but I think he would probably think about it after the fight if he got beat up,
Yeah.
If it was close, then he probably would just continue on. But if he got beat up, then maybe he would think about it. All right. Another one, Henry Cejudo. I'm trying to say Cejudo, excuse me. And Pettis, Sergio Pettis, that is. And Sergio Pettis, huge underdog, 4.25 here. Is Henry too overhyped right now? And is Pettis not hyped, being the brother of, the other Pettis? Or what's up with this? What do you guys think?
Want to start, Vix?
Yeah, I mean, when you see these lines come out, there's always, since we've watched so many fights, there's stuff that like pops out at you. Sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that line's that's about right. Then you see lines that you're just kind of scratch your head over. And this is a line I don't understand. I don't understand how, Cejudo maybe should be like a -200 favorite, not this plus or what is he, minus 400 or something like that, minus 350. It's just too wide for me, and I see a path to victory. Cejudo, he just wrestles. That's all he can do. So if Pettis can maintain distance and outstrike him, I see all the value on the Pettis by decision at, I think it's plus 550. I have to look again.
Yeah, I can check that. But yeah, okay, yeah. Well, Pettis definitely can strike, and he can, he has that quick style, keeping his distance. I could see that happening. I don't know about his takedown defense against someone like Henry, though. What do you think, Philip?
I mean, I watched Henry Cejudo fight against Benavidez in December, I think. Yeah, December 3rd. And I think he won that fight, to be honest. He outstruck him. He was the better fighter, but I mean, the judges had it their way. Can't really do anything about it. But I don't think Sergio Pettis has faced anybody of this level. I mean, Henry Cejudo, he's a Olympic wrestler. He's got some pretty good striking. He did get knocked out by Demetrius Johnson, but that's the GOAT. So it's no shame in that. I mean, I've watched Sergio Pettis, and I'm not really impressed with him, to be honest. I mean, he's been knocked out, and he hasn't really faced anybody of value, if that makes sense. I mean, every time he does it, he loses. He faced Alex Caceres, he gets submitted. He faced Ryan Benoit, he got knocked out. And, he's faced lower level competition. Now he gets thrown to the wolf, basically, I think. So I think Henry Cejudo wins.
Okay, right on. Yeah, I don't really know about this one. I might go put something on Pettis, but I'm not really sold on it either.
I mean,
maybe I don't know. I don't think Hudo is really sloppy coming in for the takedowns either. I would, he sets it up. He learned enough striking to set it up. So, no, I probably would just skip this one.
A lot of people actually think that Sergio Pettis is going to take it by decision. Now, I don't know what the lines are, but I mean that.
Well, that's what Vic said. Yeah, the line is it's really high. It's 4.8 decimal, which is like plus 3? No, it's 5 something decimal. It's plus 400 something American. So yeah, it's pretty high. That could be worth a shot. Definitely. That's if Pettis is going to win. I think that could be a way. I would just wonder if he gets like a knee when he comes in to get a takedown or some kind of kick like that. But probably outpointing him, staying the distance is the way to go. All right, now we got another interesting fight here. Dustin Poirier against Eddie Alvarez. Of course, everyone knows what happened to Alvarez last when he got knocked out by McGregor in really disappointing performance as far as I'm concerned by him. In New York City and everything. And now, he wants to come back. But Poirier has looked really sharp lately. Total is really low odds, over 1.5, 1.43. I don't really have an opinion on this one. I was kind of leaning Alvarez, actually, even though he did look so poor in the McGregor fight. He's got really good wrestling. He's got good strike. Same argument as always with him. I mean, now, is he going to be able to perform, or is he just out to space still? I don't know. What do you think, Philip?
I mean, Eddie Alvarez, he got embarrassed by Conor. That's you can't run away from that. Even though both of them have been knocked out by Conor, Eddie Alvarez got the worst of it. I mean, Dustin, he just got dropped and boom, it was done. Eddie, it was 2 rounds of just complete domination. He couldn't do anything. And I don't actually know what his mindset is right now. I think that he's gonna want to come out, make a statement, tell everybody that he's not someone who can be thrown around like a doll and be dominated. And that's why I think Dustin's gonna win, because he's more, how do you say it? He's more technical and he can keep it cool when it's a stressful situation.
Level-headed.
Level-headed.
Fighter IQ might be a little bit higher. That's true. Dustin Poirier has looked really good. I really like what he's been doing lately.
He got knocked out by who was it, Michael Johnson? But
Michael Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, he
So
surprised me
that
a
is
lot.
one. So that was one where Portier, I think, lost his cool.
Yeah,
because they had a lot of trash talk pre-fight.
And I mean, he looked surprised when Michael Johnson came out. Michael Johnson just started swinging, and Poirier looked lost because, I mean, I've never seen Michael Johnson do that.
Well,
He
Michael
never did
Johnson looked like he doubled his speed. It was like a video game or something.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I thought that Dustin Poirier is gonna finish him in like the second or third. No, like Michael Johnson just came in and swung for the fences, and he cut Poirier's chin, and that's where also I think Dustin Poirier's weakness lies. He keeps his guard really open when he fights, and that's why I don't think he's gonna be able to take a high level striker, like Aldo, Conor McGregor, any of those guys, because they're gonna find that weakness. I don't think that Eddie Alvarez is gonna be able to find that though. I mean, his knockout against RDA, he he got it behind RDA's guard. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And I mean, to me, it looked like a lucky punch. To be honest, it might have been something strategical that he's been training on for a while. I don't think so. So I think Dustin Poirier has better striking than Eddie Alvarez, and he's also going to be able to deal with Eddie Alvarez's wrestling because he's got some really good jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I think Dustin Poirier is going to win by decision, probably.
Okay, Vix, what do you think about this one?
Well, I just realized I mixed up Alvarez and Edgar, which tends to happen to me a lot because they're both like Philly guys that kind of.
They're very similar.
Their mannerisms are very similar. But it's funny because I actually think this is just a carbon copy of what we discussed in that Edgar fight. Is this up and comer versus seasoned veteran that's kind of had the wind taken out of their sails a little bit. So do we see Edgar and Alvarez both retire on this?
I don't think that Eddie Alvarez is going to retire just yet. I think Edgar's got a lot more fights, but I definitely see what you mean. I'm definitely questioning what's in Eddie Alvarez's head more than what's going on in Dustin's. Like Philip said, maybe he has something to prove. Thinks he has something to prove. Maybe that causes him to make a mistake or something. But I don't know. I think I might just skip this. The over 1.5 is not really worth it. Might have. Let's see. Fight starts around 3. Doesn't pay a whole lot either. So I don't know. It might just be a complete skip for me. Maybe a prop bet. All right. Any other fights that you guys are looking at on this card?
Vix, you want to start?
Oh, you had a Vix. How about you? Looking at anything else on this card?
I know we had been talking about the Chase Sherman versus, is it Rashid Couture now? That's what it's on?
Gaultier.
Wait, is that official now? Or
yeah, I know that. I think that is official.
Yeah, it's on Best Fight Odds. I think they just get the line directly from the book, so the books have updated.
Oh, okay.
That. Philip, were you on Sherman or Gaultier?
I had a lot of fights, but yeah, we can start with Sherman. I was on Rashad Coulter originally. Coulter, yeah. But now that they've changed, I mean, I've got to look up this guy, but I mean, if he's a decent striker, he's gonna wipe the floor with Chase Sherman. I mean, Chase he eats jabs all day. He has zero head movement, and whenever he's so predictable because when he's gonna throw a combination, he sort of like moves like in a weird way. And if you just throw out a jab, then he's gonna be interrupted and be like, "Oh, okay, I'll just start it over again," and he's gonna do that.
Yeah.
But
that's reset. He resets.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's like Mike Tyson. Have you ever played the video game Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
Yeah. But I was really young. But
Yeah, but each guy they have these tells.
Exactly.
They give their little tell.
A good prop bet though would be something like fight goes the distance or something like that, because Chase Sherman, he can take some punishment and not get dropped. I mean, he got dropped by Walt Harris, but he hits like a truck. And yeah, I don't think that his opponent is gonna hit quite as hard as Walteris. So I'd probably take the fight going to a decision. I don't know what the odds are yet, though. But yeah, that's what I'd probably take.
No, it is Rashid Coulter. That's who it is.
Okay. Vix, you have anything on this to add?
Well, Coulter is coming in from LFA. He does have one loss by Kamara, which I don't think he's going to have to contend with much grappling from Chase Sherman. Otherwise, all the rest of his fights are wins by KO in the first round, except one.
Okay.
So maybe he does.
That's why
have
the
power.
over 1.5. Over 1.5 is 2.1. So what? Plus 110. Maybe that's why.
I think this guy's kind of short though. He's 5'11". Trying to look at what.
Wait, is he? Oh wow.
Trying to see how tall Sherman is. He's got to be 6'3" or something.
This could be an interesting one on the prelims to pay attention to think about. Might have to take a closer look at this. I was gonna take Courtney Casey to beat Jessica Aguilar.
Yep.
Aguilar at 1.8. I think that's pretty good value. Casey, I think she's still kind of underrated. She has power to knock people out. She could submit people. She's not someone in the women's division that relies on going to decision like some people. All around good fighter. I don't really know why she's not getting that much attention. And Jessica Aguilar, not spectacular as far as my opinion. I think it's a good matchup. I think it's not bad. 1.8 for Courtney Casey. I think she can get that done. Of course, I won't bet the under on this. I got burned a lot betting unders and the women's thinking they'll actually get it done, but they usually don't. That's why it's really high right now. So just say no to betting unders on that. That's about it. That's all I've got.
Actually,
I'm leaning on. What do you think? Mm-hmm.
One fight that I want to talk a little bit about is Chas Kelly versus Jason Knight. That's gonna be an exciting fight, I think, at least. Both of them are good strikers, great grapplers, and the odds are just about even. But I think that Jason Knight's gonna take it. That's just a lean on my part.
Actually,
that's not,
you get pretty good odds on Jason Knight. It looks like. Hold on. Plus 110 on Jason Knight. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. So yeah, if any of you have any opinion on that fight, I mean, it's both are great up and comers, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, that's about all for me.
What about Jocko? He's finally a favorite in a fight.
Theo, do you have any opinion on Jocko? I don't have one. I haven't, looked him up or anything. What happened with Theo? Is he gone?
Sorry, I'm coughing.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I think he's a good up-and-coming fighter, and I might place a small bet on him. I need to watch some more footage on David Branch, honestly, so it's not a real strong pick right now. But I think that he's still kind of underrated, although he's getting respect here on the odds this time around. But I think that he's still a little bit overlooked. I think the UFC has noticed him. That's why they're putting him on this card, actually. That he's been getting the job done, and he's developing. So I think that's pretty interesting. Also, we usually don't just talk about MMA things in general, but there is the show, The Ultimate Fighter Redemption, going on, and a lot of people talk shit about Tough, The Ultimate Fighter, and a lot of the seasons have been total crap. But this one is actually pretty cool. So what they've done is they brought fighters that basically either didn't do well on the show or just won one fight on the show, or some of them have even been in the UFC but got dropped.
I think one of them is in the UFC now. Actually, he's in the
Right.
roster.
Right, but but he had a tough time on Tough, and it's good. It's good to get
Yeah.
your name out or whatever. But actually, it's a pretty good show. It's pretty interesting. I can't remember the guy's name right now off the top of my head, but there's this one guy that almost won the whole thing. But after he won, it was in Las Vegas, and he just went nuts, went out and partied all night in Las Vegas, and ended up like kicking the window out of a limousine and getting into like all these fights and stuff. And then Dana White said, "Okay, sorry, you're gone. You're not in the final anymore." He gets another chance. That other guy that was on one season that almost got kicked out, that like went totally nuts in the house. Let me bang, bro. I don't know if you saw that meme. Yeah, that guy is on there too. It's actually a pretty good season so far. I've had 3 fights.
Entertaining.
It's pretty entertaining. It's more entertaining than some of the other seasons, that's for sure. So if anyone into MMA, definitely check that out. It's on every Wednesday. So it's pretty cool. All right, that's it. Check out degenbet.com if you guys want to get up with us. Probably the best place is on Telegram, which is a chat application, kind of like WhatsApp. And to get to it, you can also use a web browser. You just go to telegram.me/sportsbet. Check out the link in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. Give us a thumbs up, give us a subscription, and talk to you soon.
Take care, guys.